Hey everybody, Agent of Doubt here, world's worst SJW, and I was just going to talk about some of the reasons why I quit a job. Now, I've got multiple income streams, so like quitting a job doesn't mean that I quit all my jobs, but I quit a pretty significant one. And I just decided to come on and talk about the reasons why. Because I feel like I have just become part of the Great Resignation, right? Number one reason, even though there are many, I'd say the number one reason by far is pay. Pay. People respect you by compensating you on the job. Your employers show their respect for you, and I just felt like in some of the things I was doing, I was the lowest paid clinician in like the entire city for some of the shit that I was doing. So I just decided that was enough, and found a place that would pay me double, outright double. And that's not even the best paying place. It was just a good fit for me. But, just decided to cut ties with a significant portion of my income streams and say sayonara. And the number one reason was pay. But why now? Because pay has been bad the whole time I've been there, right? And pay has been stagnant for a lot of people for decades now, and then the prices of things keep on going up, and in particular the price of things that I might be in a better position at this point in my life to purchase. The parts of that American dream that everybody ends up going after, and one of those being housing. And so just looking at the housing market, I realized that by the pay rate that I was working for, if I were to extrapolate that out to a full-time job, I could not afford to live in the city where I'm working based on that pay. So I did a pretty long search about what do I want to do about it, where do I want to head in life, and made some moves. And this is not the new arrangement that I have arrived at is not the final place that I have decided to land. And so like going into my next ventures, I'm already not thinking about loyalty or longevity on the job or anything. I'm thinking about stepping stones to more better pay. And I actually tell a lot of people, just look on Indeed, look on a job posting site, just look around. Doesn't matter if you're comfortable right now, just look, see what's happening. And however much money it would take for you to leave your job and go work for another job that's just like your job, however much money that is, it seems like they're willing to meet you. It's just a matter of time till it gets to that point where you have to jump ship, because loyalty is not rewarded. When things are so out of control with inflation like they are, the only way to get the raise that you deserve to just keep the status quo going is to jump ship, go to a different position, a different job. Because no job is going to say, we only gave you 2 to 3% raise for 3 years in a row, and all 3 of those years housing went up like 20%. So we should have been giving you like a 60% raise if we're only measuring it versus the housing market and how well you are able to rent or buy in this market versus your pay, you know. Then there are many measures that are all convoluted, but like the consumer price index and whatnot. But the one that matters to me right now is that one. And because it's not those little consumer items that I'm trying to buy. I have all the junk that I need. I have a lot of junk that I'm still planning on getting to using someday when I have the time. But in order to tread water in this economy, I felt like I had to have more than one job, which left me with not a lot of time to enjoy all of my junk that I did buy, and I just quit buying junk because I don't fucking need it. So when I use the junk that I already have, then maybe I'll go out and buy something. But yeah, I live a pretty minimal existence as far as like what I spend my money on now, because I have enough. I just, buy food, pay my utilities, and every so often upgrade an appliance or whatnot, but it's not much spending I do. And what I've realized is I can save $1,000 a month and put it in an account specifically for a down payment on a house. And every month that I do that, houses rise in value about $10,000 because they're hovering around the low end houses that I'm looking at. They're hovering around $500,000, right? To be in my city, and the what used to be considered the starter homes, the condos, the townhomes, they're in the $250,000 to $350,000 range. But that's what the list asking price is. What ends up happening is people are paying tens of thousands of dollars over asking price. And I've been beat out on a couple of places that I put a bid on to the point where I'm really picky about, investing any sort of emotion into the next one that I'll put a bid on, because I offered some pretty good money for things that I didn't think were worth that much money, and it still got beat out horribly. To the tune of like tens of thousands of dollars beyond what I was willing to offer. And so the list prices that you see on websites like Zillow and any other MLS site, that's just like the starting bid. And you just got to figure that somewhere between $30,000 and $100,000 more than that is what it's going to sell for. When the competition is so steep for housing, and this is not just in my area, it's all over the country, there is a shortage of houses. And I feel like I got to this point in my life where I should have been able to have the things that I wanted, and the goalposts got moved. And I'm not alone in this feeling that I've arrived. I make a good ton of money, and I even work extra hours to make even more money with multiple revenue streams. I should be able to afford a place to fucking live. And yeah. I've made videos about this topic or similar before, but this time what I'm saying is all of that stress made me realize that part of this equation was that one of the jobs I was working is a low-paying community mental health job, And I decided, well, I can no longer give good care to people if I'm not doing self-care for myself. It's really become an obsessive thought for me that, you know, people in my field aren't being respected when we're doing the hardest work. And now I just feel like making a transition towards being what maybe a younger me might have considered a money-hungry vampire, but maybe advocating for a better structure to the way that the field is used, such that we could borrow from other fields, like how lawyers in some states have to give a certain percentage of their work pro bono in certain ways. I feel like every mental health professional should have to work in a community mental health clinic one day a month. Just one, And we would take all the people that are hiding with the hashtag first world problems, making all the money, and bring them back down to the reality of the world, and ground them in, the sorrows of rock bottom, and then send them back to the hashtag first world problems with better perspective, and bring some really good clinicians down to the place where they're needed the most. I fucking hate that it's the youngest people in every field that are the ones cutting their teeth on the hardest cases in mental health, because those are the ones that end up in community mental health. The people who are using Medicaid to pay for their health care have more problems than the people who are using other means of payment, either self-pay or insurance. So if you're in community mental health, you should maybe not be a rookie just thrown to the wolves, into, out of the frying pan into the fire. That's there's so much wrong with the world. And I'd done my time in that area, and I just realized that, I only have so many years to live and work and earn money, and I just decided I had enough, and I quit. And there wasn't much fanfare to it or anything. I put in my notice, and haven't been asked for any follow-up, any sort of exit interview, and I know why. It's because they know why. It's the pay. So, yeah. That was a big part of it. The biggest chunk of the reason why is pay. Just numbers. Just, simple numbers. And the fact that the things that I want have had a head start at this. Even if I got a 10% raise every year, if houses go up 10% every year, the fact that they are so expensive now and have a head start, they're going to outpace me to the point where they'll always be unaffordable now without housing market crash. Here I am rubbing my hands together like, ha ha ha, can't wait for the housing market crash. And I don't want that sort of pain for everybody who is a homeowner, but, I missed the boat, and I'm waiting for the next time the boat comes around again. But I wanted to talk about the other reason that was acutely part of my decision. There are certain companies that have decided that, even though the pandemic numbers are still raging on, we've all decided collectively that the pandemic is, quote unquote, over as far as our response to it. So we're no longer going to have the types of work that you've been used to. And, managers kind of, they justify their manager jobs by being able to manage, and they like to see their employees in the office. And so I was going to be required to, a certain number of days out of the week, be in the office. And unfortunately, I have become accustomed to being able to work multiple jobs in the same day and not have to commute. And that decision to force everyone to come back to work just a couple days a week in the office would have added, every day that they tacked onto that, it would have added 2 hours of commute time, which would have taken away from my ability to work the other jobs that I've been working just to maintain my lifestyle and keep earning money the way I want to. So, without that, it's as easy as like close down one app and open the other, and boom, I'm on the other job, And when one job starts affecting the other jobs and wants to start costing me time that I don't get paid for, and money in the form of gas prices that are going up, their decision that the pandemic response of us going telehealth is going to be, halved now. Well, that decision is a decision that costs me money. I got used to not having to spend hundreds of dollars in gas a month, and that money going, straight to my savings account and helping me to cope with the fact that prices are rising. And now that they want us to go back, I was like, let me look around and find a better paying job that is maybe right down the road and closer. And I did find one that is at least an hour less commute both ways. And so it's closer, and if I'm going to have to work in person, might as well have it be a place that's closer to where I live. So every manager across the country should hear, like, if your workers are spread out after this pandemic, and you're going to require them to come back to work and not do their work remotely, you got to figure they're looking at their options. They've been saving money by not commuting just so that you could look at them and maybe like knock on their door and maybe interrupt their work more. My productivity numbers, I have it on good authority that I was the most productive clinician in the clinic that I was in, that I just quit. And I'm not the only person leaving, and it's become sort of an exodus to where there were plans for an expansion, and those plans have been curtailed because the clinic is actually shrinking rather than expanding. And I can't feel guilty about it. I have to look after me and what I want in life. And at the same time, having no one try to do an exit interview with me at all to hear why. They know why. And I feel like they've heard it from other people maybe enough that they don't feel like wasting the time doing an exit interview with me. But, they have another week of me being there to maybe try to fit one in. But at this point, they haven't asked. Because they know. They know exactly what's going on. And I haven't been making as many YouTube videos because this has just been mentally taxing on me to have to make this decision, and now I'm preparing for working elsewhere and, a different style of work and living. So here I am. And wearing masks has made my nose rub raw on one place and break out in another. And just from washing my face and then wiping my face with a towel, I reopened the raw part of my nose and saw blood in the mirror. I just got really, really pissed off that I had to go back in and wear masks that, create that pattern of nose wear. And yeah. That's on top of just being pissed off that we still have 1,000 people a day dying in America, and that's like 3 plane crashes, but nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. That's where I'm at, people. That's why you saw a little bit of a decline in my output the last 2-3 weeks. Yeah. I bought a candy bowl for my new position so that when I see a client in person, they can have some candy. And that's about the happiest thing I have to say today. So, and I'm not going cheap. We're talking about like brand name candy, not just like hardtack trash. So, here we go.